Crossing midline exercises for children. Are you wondering what the crossing the midline is all about? The midline we are referring to is an imaginary line drawn from the head to the feet that separate the left and the right halves of the body. Crossing this midline means that a body part can spontaneously move over the other side of the body to work there.
Crossing midline can be done with our eyes, hands, arms, feet, or legs. Our eyes cross the midline when we read a book. Our legs and feet can cross midline when we're doing something fun like kicking a ball or line dancing. Our arms and hands can cross the midline when we're doing something like brushing our teeth or playing a fun clapping game.
How midline crossing develops. The brain is divided into two sides, called the left and the right hemispheres. There is a mass of tissue between the two hemispheres, called the corpus callosum. The corpus callosum contains nerve fibers that allow the two hemispheres to communicate with each other in order to coordinate learning and movement. A lack of midline crossing may indicate that the left and the right side of the brain are not communicating well across the corpus callosum. Smiths found that when doing activities that required midline crossing, younger children were found to make more errors than adult children. The more mature brain were able to process and carry out the contralateral task more efficiently. Bilateral movement and interaction with the environment are therefore important factors in helping a child develop the skill of crossing the midline. As body scheme, left-right discrimination and spatial perception continues to develop between the ages of 4 to 8 years. The ability to spontaneously cross the midline also continues to develop. How this interaction helps and how it could be affected.
Children practice crossing midline by interacting with their environment. When they do normal play things like crawling, pushing cars along the ground, climbing on playground equipment or trees, finger painting, and playing games like Simon Says, they're practicing crossing the midline over and over again. In recent years, children have been spending more and more time in front of screens, and babies have been spending more and more time in baby equipment that keeps them in one position. These factors have had an impact on the amount of time children spend interacting with their environment, which in turn impacts all areas of development, including a child's ability to cross midline.
How can you tell if the child has problem with crossing his or her body's midline? If a child has difficulties crossing the body midline, they might swap hands midway through a task such as when writing. Use the left hand for activities on the left side of the body and right hand for activities on the right side of the body. Rotate their trunk to the opposite side when reaching across the body to avoid crossing the midline. Have difficulty visually tracking an object on one side of the body, such as following text when reading. Have poor pencil skills. Use different feet to kick a ball. Have difficulty coordinating gross motor patterns. Now, what exercises or workout that may help? Number 1, the seated exercises. both hands to shoulder respectively for 50 seconds. Both hands cross over, high five exercise. Hands to cheeks. Hands to knees. Number 2, the standing exercises, level 1. Same to the previous exercises, but the child should perform it while he or she is standing, except for hand to hip exercise. Hands to knees. Number 3, standing exercises level 2. These exercises should also be done while standing, but it's more difficult. Some of it require the child to stand on one leg. It's the same to the previous except for high knees exercise. Hand to foot. Hands to foot behind, and it's the most complicated. Now, as you are working with the kids, you need an enjoyable activities to maintain their engagement and enjoyment in the session. What activities can help improve crossing the body's midline? Let's start with the crafting, threading beads, cutting and pasting, folding paper. Finger puppets, placing finger puppets on one hand and encouraging the child to remove the puppets with the opposite hand. Blocks and percussions, getting the child to bang blocks instrument together in their midline. Playing twister. It's useful with the older children. Playing Simon Says. Streamers, getting the child to make streamers or ribbon circles and patterns in front of their midline. Stickers, placing stickers on one arm and encouraging the child to remove them with the opposite hand. These exercises and activities helps a lot in facilitating the interaction between the two sides of the body, which in turn make the child body's movement become more arranged, more meaningful and functional performance, more independent. Thank you.